Hi, I'm Birat. I'm a writer. I'm originally from Italy, and today I'm here at Zoe Media for Maneguji. Um, so I'm doing a monologue about confronting intergenerational trauma, and to get started discussing about uncomfortable topics and normalizing the conversation around mental health and generational trauma. Pain travels through families until someone is ready to feel it. That's what Steffi Wagner said. And Diane Sannett Wood added that our generational curse is avoidance. We come from people who just act like nothing happened, but pain demands to be felt. Somewhere along the line, a child will be born whose change it is to feel it all. Somewhere along the line, a child will be born whose charge it is to feel it all. These are your shamans, your priests, your healers. But you call them mental health patients and label their power as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and the like. They are born with the gift of feeling, and you can't heal the pain that you refuse to feel. There's obviously pain that has been passed down through generations in my family, pain that the parents of my parents or generations before them refused to feel or avoided till death. It is understandable how they didn't have the means to express their emotions or even comprehend that mental health issues exist just like physical health issues. When it comes to pain, I'm talking about how we inflict our pain on others when we haven't healed from them. And it is something that I've been a witness to in my family and society. When I'm in a room with my family or relatives during some family gathering, the volume of cognitive dissonance present there is astronomical. The cognitive dissonance becomes so apparent, like they are judging people for the same traits that they have. They are so unaware or pretending to be unaware of the characteristics they hate, while they have been embodying the same traits for a really long time. They call other people out for being money minded, but they are the same folks causing fights in the family in the name of money. And sometimes I wonder if my judgment towards them are just a defense mechanism. Am I trying to paint themselves as these flawed, imperfect human beings because deep down I know that they won't be accepting of my queerness? Is my perception of them as these severely flawed human beings just a coping mechanism? I'm trying to work through my own issues, but at the same time, I also hold conditioned prejudices because at the end of the day, I'm also a human. And I'm so occupied with seeing them as these flawed human beings as a coping mechanism because I know that they won't be accepting of my identity. So I too have inherited avoidance, our generational curse. Whenever somebody in the family does something wrong by someone else, I have never seen them confront each other. It's just talking behind their back and never like sitting down and talking through their issues. There is no confrontation at all, and it bothers me so much. As families, we should be able to talk through our issues and have each other's back instead of like talking behind our back. And it's just something that I've felt that has been passed down through generations. This avoidance of not sitting down and talking through your issues. And over time, when you do not confront or resolve the issues, it just builds up. And this builds up as rays. There's this unresolved thing that is that is sitting at the back of your mind, and you resent that person that you have issues with. And you just never really get to the point where you are fully comfortable being yourself with them. And it's just so weird that as a family that this is something that just happens. I have time and again tried to confront when I have issues with someone, especially in my family. And that has gotten ugly because I have snapped, I have lashed out in anger and frustration. I'm trying to get to the core of the issue, and they do not see it as me trying to resolve the issue, but more like, what is he on about? They do not see that they are at fault. And when it comes to mental health, I'm no psychiatrist or anything, but there is obviously unchecked mental health issues that run in my family. Like when I talk about family, I mean the extended family as well. And mental health issues can be genetic. There are other socio-cultural factors as well. I definitely I definitely know that my mother has anxiety. My father also has issues. They are now in their mid 50s and they have never had the privilege to know about these things and go on, and so they just went about their life without prioritizing their mental health because it's just something that doesn't happen. There's a lot of intergenerational trauma that I've seen and felt, and I don't know if I can put an end to it, but I want to work through my trauma. And at the same time, I also want to be there for my parents. It's not possible for me to help everybody because that's a lot of pressure. But for my parents, I want to help them understand that issues like mental health exist just like physical health issues. I feel like my parents do not really know me. I have mentioned to them once or twice that I take medication for anxiety, but since I mentioned, they have never once asked me about how I am doing mentally. Why would they even? They didn't grow up knowing about these things, and mental health barely is their priority. I'm a son. I, as a son, am their priority, but they are so oblivious to integral parts of myself, like my queerness and my mental health. For them, it's always our son will get to this age, he will get married, have a wife, and have a family. Like that's their only concern. And I'm like, first of all, I'm queer. Like 27 years of my life have gone by without them knowing this integral part of me. And I keep wondering, like, do my parents even really know their son? Like, this is the intergenerational trauma that I'm talking about. Like, I go through heartbreaks and terrible deaths. Sometimes I wish I could talk to my parents about it, but no. How do I even start? Like, where do I even start? I cannot just like drop the bomb. And sometimes I get too tired and feel like I should drop the bomb because it just feels ridiculous at some point. Those that came before me, they are so much bound by these social, cultural, and religious expectations. So I come from a Brahmin family, and they are very much like. So our identity is very much rooted in purity culture. I'm a son that was born to a Brahmin family, so they expect me to marry a Brahmin girl, obviously. They want me to become this God fearing son who follows the socio-cultural norms. And I don't even know if I believe in God. A few years ago, what happened was there was this intercaste marriage in the family. Like one of my cousins, whose girlfriend was from Chetri family. And what followed was basically insanity. There was discussion, gossiping, heated arguments, and just talking behind the back. If you have an issue, like just talk to them. Like it was just so fucking weird to be a witness to all that. Now imagine I say that I want to marry a man. Imagine how they would react. I'm not fearing what everybody else from the extended relatives has to say. I just want my parents' acceptance. But at the same time, I also worry what other people are gonna tell my parents, and I do not want my parents to feel bad for me. However, what I want to do is take responsibility for things that family and society sees as things that are wrong with me. Because I'm not all the things that are wrong with me, but I'm all the things that I do not take responsibility for. Because this is how it starts. It doesn't start with you, but with your parents who followed their parents in the name of legacy. Selfish game of procreation is played with the intention of immortality. Problematic patterns are passed down because this is how it has been, because this is what our parents learned, and this is what we are being taught by them. All my life, I thought learning was hard until I was struck on many occasions that I needed to unlearn a lot of things, and it honestly was a hard pill to swallow. Because it's easier to be hateful than to be forgiving when life hasn't been absolutely kinder to you. Learning that there are millions of things to unlearn can be seriously taxing. And it can go wrong too because there is a fear of getting detached from all the things that were around and with you as you were growing up. Unlearning is also about finding yourself, your true self that has been buried with years of conditioning, societal and family pressure, expectations, limitations, lies you have been fed. Everyone should have aspirations of being okay with being held accountable, and I hope I get there someday too. Life isn't always a Sunday afternoon brunch with your favorite people because it is sometimes the death of your favorite people on your birthday. I guess I'm trying to acknowledge that no matter how unfair life gets, it doesn't allow me to be shitty to other people. But I sometimes still am. Is it a work in progress? The point is that my trauma doesn't give me right to be shitty to people. You could be sinking deeper into the ocean of overwhelming misery, but it does no one better if you keep on inflicting pain on others. That is not okay, and neither are unhealthy coping mechanisms. But one step at a time, I believe. You need to be better. You need to heal from what hurt you so that you do not bleed on people who didn't cut you. You owe it to yourself to own who you are. And that can be achieved through different ways, like by seeing a therapist, joining rehab, apologizing to your partner, confronting your parents, suing your abuser, cutting ties with toxic relatives, and the list goes on. I saw this quote somewhere, probably on Tumblr, where it said verbatim, there are two types of people. Type A says, I suffered, so I will make sure no one else does. Whereas type B says, I suffered, so they should too. I do not think either of them is good. Not even type A, because those are the same people who put everybody's lives ahead of theirs and think that counts as love. You cannot give the whole world to someone just because you thought it's what they need and then be mad at them when they say they didn't ask for it. You need to be responsible because it's wrong. And well, you aren't all the things that are wrong with you, but you are all the things that you do not take responsibility for. So I want to be responsible for my happiness and sanity.
Wow, that felt like a very something out of a personal diary, Birat, beautifully written down. It's also very personal, I feel.
Yeah.
I think few of the keywords that I'd like to, that kind of, was circulating inside my head while you're reading these out were obviously mental health, I know, intergenerational trauma, um, South Asian family structure
Yes.
as a whole, and becoming or being a queer, basically, right? Um, तर I also felt that in all these nuances that you've subtly and not so subtly tried to put forth, for as much as they were very confrontational in its nature, I also felt that it had very less intention um, के भन्ने, of doing भनौँ न, more intention of doing causing positive effects, rather than the other way around. Okay, because I felt that you carried a lot and you still carry a lot, and you want all of these things to be out, but at the same time, you wouldn't want these things to be causing discomfort to your loved ones or other people. Just to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it had a lot of understanding the other side with a lot of empathy and love and kindness. Okay, when in fact धेरै जस्तो इन्डिभिजुअल्सहरू जसले चाहिँ धेरै कुरा बोकिरहनु भएको हुन्छ नि भित्र, उहाँहरूको डेलिभरीमा चाहिँ आई सेन्स एङ्गर, अलिकति रेज, होइन, लाइक यु मेन्सन्ड, अनि अलिकति आई सफर, बिकज अफ देम, अलिकति ब्लेम गेमिङ खालको पनि कुराहरू, एन्ड राइटफुली सो, आम नट जजिङ, बट तिम्रोमा चाहिँ all of these factors or elements kind of cancelled while you were reading your note. Okay, was it intentional, or are you this as a person that you don't?
I mean, I certainly have like anger and rage within me, obviously, because of like not getting that acceptance. But I feel like it is too taxing for my mental health to be like resentful all the time. So,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, I also want to go to sleep peacefully. Yeah. I don't want to just like carry this heavy, bag full of rage. And I think that will not do any good to me. I mean, yeah, I will try to confront or like lash out. I will snap or feel like, okay, like I'm the one who is the victim here. You should supposed to be
Yeah.
understanding like my situation. But also, I think that's the burden of being this, I don't know, this educated, progressive person, because at the end of the day, I have to deal with the burden of like where they are coming from, because they wouldn't try to understand like why am I the way that I am.
Yeah.
I think someone has to be the bigger person.
But you mentioned that you've confronted your parents about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have mentioned to them once. So this happened like last year. I think they were talk. So basically, my father was saying, "Okay, now you're 26. Okay, like few years later, getting married." He just started talking about this thing randomly, and I'm like, and so I think I had built up a lot, and that time, uh, I didn't. I have not yet come out to them, but I do have plans to. But at the same time, I didn't say anything, but I basically said along the lines that there are things that you do not know about me, and if you know these things, that you might like disown me, or you might not be, you might stop talking to me. त्यसरी भनेको थिएँ, and they will quite like surprised, okay, what is he talking about भनेर. अनि त्यतिखेर चाहिँ मैले अनि आई डिड मेन्सन लाइक मेन्टल हेल्थ इस्युज, आई गो टु थेरापी, आइएम टेकिङ मेडिकेसन भनेर मैले त्यसरी चाहिँ भनेको थिएँ. अनि पछि आई हर्ड फ्रम माई सिस्टर्स लाइक माई ड्याड आस्क्स माई सिस्टर लाइक ओके लाइक के को लागि मेडिकेसन हो यताउता भनेर. तर सिन्स देन नाइदर अफ देम हेभ एभर आस्क्ड मी लाइक ओके हाउ आर यु डुइङ मेन्टली, like you had told us that before. Now like where are you with, what are you doing? So no, never, they've never said that. And so just like that's the least as parents you could say, and that's not expecting a lot. And at the same time, is it because like that thing doesn't exist in your world, or is it because like it's not your priority, or you are just like you do not believe in these things? So yeah, I feel like there's another confrontation coming.
Is it going to be dreadful?
No, I'm not sure, but I think like maybe दसैँमा चाहिँ घरमा भएको बेला I hopefully I can like sit down and like talk to them about these things, because I have to like it's because one way or the other they're gonna know,
Yeah.
and it's better if it comes from me.
You think? Is it better?
I think so. I mean, at least like it's better than like finding out from somebody like a gossip thing, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. So if I tell them, it's like, and I can also like give them time to like think about it and see how they will react.
Yeah. So none of the family members know about your identity, your sexual orientation. Is that what you mean?
My sisters know. So I came out to them in during pandemic, and they are supportive. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि it's giving me like a boost भनौँ न, like eventually okay I have to let's come out to my parents भनेर.
You mentioned about your caste, about how your caste worships purity on a lot of levels, a lot of layers. Does it make it more challenging, just your caste background and your identity, basically, you know?
Challenging just from the lens of my parents, or just like their family बाट मात्रै, because like as a bound family we have privileges, you know, we were born into that. So, and it's so weird because like once I come out to them, so is it okay if I marry a bound guy? So I kind of want to ask to them, so like how will they
But
react
that is
to
another
that?
layer of complication.
Yeah. So how will they react to that? It's like what if they are like, okay, we don't care about that who you marry, but it has to be bound guy. What if that's how they react?
That'd be quite hilarious, I'm sorry.
Huh?
That'd be quite hilarious, but if that's,
Yeah.
that's something that they're going to argue on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any
Because-
problem with you being queer, but you have to marry a bound man.
Because I've heard these things happen in India, you
Oh,
know,
really?
like because like caste is such a huge thing in there,
Yeah.
no, and
So
there
sex
are
comes second, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
because
know-
because there are these like matrimony sites.
yeah.
I mean, so I've like seen on the internet like how they're accepting of your queerness, but like caste is where they draw the
Oh,
line.
that's amazing, no? I mean, that's so progressive in terms of LGBTIQ
Yeah,
rights
it
and
is.
movement. Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. Like in terms of caste,
Yeah.
hierarchy, system, whatever,
Yeah.
it's very digressive, I know.
Uh,
This queer को लागि त it's quite progressive, no?
yeah.
If you come to think of it.
It is.
But do you think that'd be the case with you too?
I don't think so. I mean, like my mom is this like God fearing, this strict, religious devout, होइन त्यो एकादशीको व्रत लिने मङ्गलबार यो खाने नखाने, द्याट टाइप अफ लाइक ज्योतिषीलाई देखाउने, सो सिज द्याट टाइप अफ वुमन.
But why do you think her devotion towards God would be a hindrance in your, with regards to your identity, or if you reveal to them, that is?
Because she is very traditional in her ways, especially with the caste thing, or like I remember पहिला पहिला कुखुराको मासु पकाएर खान पनि झगडा गर्नुभएको थियो घरमा. So that's where I come from. And it's weird because म सानो हुँदाखेरि I used to be so inspired from my mother, like to believe in God.
Yeah.
I see her doing all these like rituals and things, होइन. पछि as I grew up, I started like developing like my own thoughts. I became my own person. अनि her like this rigid way of thinking kind of started annoying me. हुन्छ नि अनि I think also like I also started like challenging them as a rebel जस्तो पनि लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ कहिलेकाहीँ अनि अहिले चाहिँ now I don't know if I believe in God. I feel like I'm agnostic. And I mean, faith is like a very personal thing. But at the same time, like, she has these expectations from me. Like, okay, you should do this, you should do that, you have to live this way, that way. And सानो सानो कुराहरूमा पनि like it's not a big deal, but it's like साउनमा कपाल काट्नुहुन्न, or like मङ्गलबार मासु नखानु यताउता. And it's like I feel like at the root of my anxiety are the people who claim to love me. Yeah, like it's like
Shit. Yeah.
like I when I go back home, my anxiety escalates. त्यस्तो हुन्छ मलाई अनि so it's like conflicted. Like I love my mother obviously,
Yeah, obviously.
but there are also parts about her that I don't have to agree with,
Yeah,
or I don't have to say
like or for
like
that matter,
yeah. And I'm a grown ass man. Like I'll be 28 soon. It's like I don't want my mother telling me how to live my life. Like yeah, maybe one of those straight mama's boy back way. Maybe it would have worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, not with me.
No, I mean, मैले यो क्युरियोसिटी एड्रेस गरेको रिजन पनि बिकज a lot of times मेरो पनि त्यो खालको नोसन बिल्ड भइहाल्थ्यो कि अलिकति ट्रेडिसनल मान्छेहरू देख्ने बित्तिकै या अब they would be assigning to certain strict रुल्सहरू होइन and they have their own path, there's no open mindedness भन्ने चाहिँ हुन्थ्यो कि तर एट द सेम टाइम धेरै जस्तो ट्रेडिसनल मान्छेहरूकोसँग इन्टरेक्ट गर्दै जाँदाखेरि होइन उहाँहरू त झन् ओपन पो रहेछ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ मेरो पर्सनल लेभलमा डिस्कभरी भयो कि मलाई चाहिँ अनि द काइन्ड अफ त्यो माइन्ड त्यो मेरो आफ्नै नोसनलाई पनि कस्तो मजाको सिफ्ट आउन थाल्यो कि अनि आई फिल लाइक अहिले आफैलाई खोज्न थाले पनि ओ सिट आई एम सो मच मोर ट्रेडिसनल इन माई हुन्छ नि माई ओन वेज खालको कुराहरू सच अ डिस्कभरी विथ एज एन्ड विथ टाइम पनि होला तर अबाउट मेन्टल हेल्थ विराट है since you said you'll be turning 28, you know, so 27 years of living as you, but not being able to accept it out loud, within your surroundings, amongst your community people, does that take a toll on you?
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, that's why I go to therapy. Yeah, that does. Like mostly, now I've realized that at the end of the day, it's just my parents' opinions that matter, Raisa. And it's so weird because like no matter how grown up you are or successful or like famous you are, you always seek your parents' validation. And while the sano sano kuraharle tyo, whenever they are like complaining about things, like about me, and I get so triggered, okay? Like this is where you draw the line. You have no idea what's coming your way, भनेर. So it's it's it definitely takes a toll on you. Yeah, for sure.
You think having a community of people outside of your family gives you that strength and power?
Yes, I think for me that has been like my support is like my queer community, I think. And now I'll say like I have friends from the community, like I have worked in queer centric work पनि गरेको छु मैले अनि like art related work about around like queer issues. So because of that it has really helped me also like accept myself, like come to terms with myself. So yeah, having that support is like really really necessary, Risa. even if you do not have like supportive parents, because not everybody has that.
Yeah.
I know, especially like in our part of the world. So I think I would like suggest people to like find your people, find your community. So then at least you have somebody to like rely or like talk about. Sometimes you just need to vent, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
तिम्रो यो queer centric कामहरूको बारेमा थोरै भन्नुहुन्छ?
so I started my like creative like writing or like creative journey in Kathmandu भनौँ. पहिला चाहिँ I used to just like write poetry on my Instagram and share it. अनि पछि चाहिँ 2021को अक्टोबर नोभेम्बरमा I got selected for this writing residency at Kalo 101. And त्यतिखेर म आएको थिएँ अनि I wrote like 2 articles in an art centric magazine. अनि त्यसपछि I was also part of this queer in our own words भन्ने ब्रिटिस काउन्सिलको प्रोजेक्टमा I became part of that. अनि त्यसपछि I worked on this queer article where I basically interviewed 5 artists from like 3 different countries, and it was also published later in VIII magazine. त्यसपछि I one of my poem also got published in Songs of Revolution भन्ने. It's first of its kind like queer poetry collection. It's by Gothe Zentrum. That was published in 2022. त्यसपछि I got another writing residency, Dafe Hatsma. So there also I wrote a piece about like home as an identity, like basically my experience as a queer person and my idea of home भनौँ न. त्यसमा I wrote that. अनि I published like few articles on like I have published one in Kathmandu Post, one in online cover. There is one that is going to be published यो अगस्तमा in Gacy Family, to Indiaको digital publication. And beside that, yeah, last year in November I got to go to Belfast Outburst Queer Art Festival. So I went there as a delegate from British Council.
Oh,
Yeah, that was I'm mentally still there.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that was
amazing,
amazing.
Birat.
Yeah, and अस्ति भर्खर like मेमा I got to go to Sri Lanka. So the Queer Muslim project, honey, I got selected for this year's Queer Writers Room. So I went there. अनि त्यहाँ हाम्रो चाहिँ राइटर्स रिट्रिट थियो. अनि so हाम्रो work will be published as an anthology.
Oh,
Yeah, so in November. And November there's gonna be a literature festival in Mumbai, so hopefully I'll get to go to that as well. So yeah, I am getting to do like the work that I really want to do in literature ma, even in education, like with Kendall Dimal Foundation. Last year could be on the binary ma, I was like one of the queer ambassadors. And yeah, so अनि अब नेपालमा पनि क्वेयर आर्ट फेस्टिभल हुने कुरा छ नेक्स्ट इयर. So I'll also be part of that. So I just want to like write and explore more, write about queerness and identity. Yeah, so it's been amazing.
well, that sounds amazing. I'm pretty sure you're amazing. That's why you reached to so many places, you know.
Yeah.
You're able to make it also. अलिकति तिम्रो like you said about के भन्छ त्यो home is your identity. What did you say?
Home is an identity.
As an identity.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times since we're talking about home and the family people, आफ्नै एकदमै close circle को बारेमा कुरा गरिरहेको भएर चाहिँ I feel that a lot of us, especially Nepali बच्चाहरू भनौँ न, and certain एउटा socio-economic strata मा belong गर्ने obviously, you know, and also not generalizing because न सबैसँग त्यस्तो हुन्छ भने पनि होइन, तर जसलाई हुन्छ र परेको छ उहाँहरूको चाहिँ मैले फेरि आफूले पनि पर्सनली धेरैसँग त्यस्तो इन्डिभिजुअल्ससँग इन्टरेक्ट गरेको भएर पनि होइन, आई फिल द्याट लाइक यु सेड हुन्छ नि तिमी घर गएपछि तिम्रो एङ्जाइटी एस्कलेट हुन्छ भने जस्तै होइन सो धेरै जस्तो डिस्कम्फर्ट र यस्तो खालको केसेसहरू चाहिँ उनीहरूको एकदमै क्लोज सर्कलले नै ट्रिगर गर्छ अथवा कोट्याएर आउँछ अनि एम्प्लिफाई गरिदिन्छ अनि वर्स बनाइन्छ बेसिकली त्यस्तो केसेसहरू तर एट द एन्ड अफ द डे दे आर द लभड वान्स होइन दे आर द फ्यामिली अनि इट्स अल्सो ट्रु द्याट एकदमै लाइफमा एकदमै लोएस्ट पोइन्टमा हिट गरेको बेलामा आई थिङ्क इमोसनली केटर गर्न चाहिँ हाम्रो कल्चरले जानेको होइन होला तर अदर देन द्याट अरू डिपार्टमेन्टहरूलाई चाहिँ मजाले केटर पनि गर्छ कि फेरि फ्यामिली स्ट्रक्चरले होइन त्यो पनि गरिरहेको हुन्छ होइन सो दे काइन्ड अफ एकदमै कन्फ्युजनमा बसिरहेको हुन्छ क्या यु नो अनि they can't really leave, right? Because obviously there are certain benefits, there are certain advantages that you get out of these people and these circles, and also emotionally धेरै tangled पनि भइरहेको हुन्छ किनभने long history हुन्छ the relationship but you can't really cut out a 10 years long relationship के होइन so त्यो केसमा चाहिँ what do you do Birat because I think you're on a similar boat भनौँ not quite the same तर how do you kind of deal with this space?
Yeah, I used to be like that. Like I'll grow up and I'll cut ties with everyone. I used to think that it's like now I've realized like that's not possible. Like at the end of the day, the family tiny race again. So I've realized it. It's so funny when we see like people in the West. It's like they cut ties and they just like move over.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, how do you do that? Teach me.
That is like, it's just not something even like, I thought I would do that, but like apparently I cannot. And also like, I don't think it's healthy just to पनि लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ. I mean, yeah, if it gets to the point where you cannot like really face them or like be with them, then yeah, you should just like listen to yourself and violence ko kuraharu cha bhane ta yeah you should get out of that if there is no other option but aba family ko ma chai aba the thing is you cannot cater to everybody's need aba extended family uncle le ke bhन्छ auntie le ke bhन्छ हजुरबाबुले के भन्छ अनि अब मेरो केसमा चाहिँ आई फिल लाइक बाबुआमालाई सम्झाउने हो अनि if they are on board they are on board if they are not on board I won't give them a choice like they have to be on board like I'm the only son like at the end of the day I have to look after them so eventually yeah it will be like a hard pill to swallow but they will swallow it eventually so this लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ अनि I think you also kind of can I don't know start with like people your own age that is me saying because I feel like I expect younger people to be more open-minded because you have access you have resources I know old people have excuses like this was not in their life but like you cannot be like this Gen Z and be homophobic like no you don't have that you can't get to do that so I don't know maybe tap into that and slowly maybe drop hints maybe don't drop the bomb at once slowly
smaller bombs at a time maybe
yeah so yeah it's very easier said than done it's like there will be like comfortable like discomfort the boy नै हाल्छ it's like अनि फेरि like I feel like especially in brown families there is this certain ideas of like how to be a man this masculinity
you said brown family
brown families like this idea of masculinity is have to be a certain way अनि so queerness very much challenges that so त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि there will be like discomfort हुन्छ नि especially like with men in the family I guess and or even with women I mean like because there are women who are also like not comfortable with like feminine men
oh yeah
yeah
sure.
very much
Yeah, I think in patriarchy, pani, it's not just men
No,
who
no,
you know,
yeah,
who are homophobic or not comfortable with this idea or practices.
yeah.
There are a lot of women, a lot of other sexes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is also something that I've realized how like women can also be like this
very
flag
patriarchal.
bearers of patriarchy.
Yeah, एकदम internalized
अति नै,
patriarchy.
yeah.
I think it takes a lot of, like you said, it's any unlearning.
Hmm.
You're revisiting yourself in the ideologies to understand
Yeah.
yourself so much.
Hmm.
Because I feel that the age पनि दिने होला विराट because I've
Hmm.
touched 30 होइन
Hmm.
अनि अहिले चाहिँ I feel that a lot of things that I thought I hated, a lot of things that I thought would never be my trait or my, practice in life. अहिले यसरी पछाडि पल्टेर हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ आफूलाई हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ ओ सिट यसको बिट्स एन्ड पिसेसहरू त मैले पनि कति धेरै इन्टरनाइज गरेको रहेछ
Yeah.
सो दिस सो मच for lack of a better word, एकदम धेरै hypocrisy पनि हुँदो रहेछ कि
Yeah, yeah,
just to kind of like fit into the societal mold होइन
yeah.
एउटा moldबाट निस्किन्छ तर अर्कोमा फिट हुन ट्राई गरेछ
Oh.
It's such an ongoing process कि so interesting होइन
No, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I have felt that too. Like, I mean, I have done things to like fit in,
Yeah.
like trying to be a straight passing person, I know, or like laughing at jokes that I wouldn't laugh at,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do what you can do to fit in pani ho, because of the societal acceptance pani, like you want it.
Yeah, of course.
You don't want to be this like
Yeah.
loner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are things that we do to survive, but that doesn't mean that we cannot work on हुन्छ नि, unlearning those things.
But it's very impressive, Birat, किनभने तिमीले तिम्रो नोट पढ्ने बेलामा चाहिँ like I said, it feels like it's coming from a very positive space. Yeah? It doesn't feel like you're wanting to attack or punish people who are not in alignment with your ideology or your ideas or कस्तो त्यो एकदमै positive message गए जस्तो feel भयो कि मलाई चाहिँ and I feel that this is exactly the attitude that we need in us basically किनभने you shifted culture say over time हुने कुरा हो नि त it's not gonna happen tomorrow
No.
it's gonna take a lot of generations who's gonna suffer त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ maybe we kind of slowly come out clean as better people as better generations पनि होला I think your conversation though if we stretch it can be stretched I feel like we've come to the end of the episode. It was a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing a part of you in Maneguji. Ani, this is such a beautiful recital, like a better words to tell me because you're right. तर कस्तो मजाले भनिदिनु भयो कस्तो मजाले लेख्नु भयो we can see the effort we can see we can feel what you're trying to basically deliver okay is there anything that you want to say हाम्रो भ्युयर्सहरूको लागि maybe younger generationsहरूको लागि who are as queer that are very scared to come out very scared to that they don't know how to deal with it so यस्तो खालको सिचुएसनमा भएको younger lotsहरूको लागि would you like to say anything
I'm someone who used to be very, very closeted and in denial, used to be super discreet, and I worked on myself a lot to get to the space where I'm like, I'm like okay in terms with my orientation. So if I can do that, you can too. Like, it is like it will be okay. Like, while I was 16, I thought I was running out of time. Like I wanted to do like so many things, but now at 27, I'm getting comfortable with like getting older. And what I want to say is that like it is going to be okay. Like you will find your people and you will find your community. You just have faith in yourself. You have no idea how many amazing people you will meet. And one day you will look back and realize that, oh, I was worried about nothing.
Thank you so much, Birat.
Of course, thank you for having me.